The secret to everything is that you are too easily impressed. Most of your troubles in your life would disappear if you weren't so easily impressed. What I see in most humans, over and over again, for the past decade or so of my observations, is that humans are incredibly suggestible, and humans are incredibly simple when it comes to what they find impressive. All you have to do is shoot a few darts in the dark, and one of those darts will end up hitting something, right? They'll pull at a string or some sort of emotional remembrance from their past or some sort of similar wisdom or whatever. You know what I'm talking about. I'm talking about words, right? And they'll take it and they'll interpret that with such an incredible depth, right? And that depth very rarely comes from the person shooting the darts, right? They're just, throwing words out there. And it's the person receiving them that gives it some sort of divine interpretation. So let's agree and admit and confess to the fact that you are very easily impressed, as are most people. So if someone comes out here and tells you, well, all you have to do is have stupid amounts of belief in yourself. Just believe in yourself and things will be this different way around you. Are you a degenerate? I don't think you think you're a degenerate. But it doesn't take a smart person to understand that if belief was the only basis upon which fundamental reality is based on and changed, that we would live in an absolutely distraught, chaotic world. Well, why? Because the beliefs of most people are destructive. So what keeps those destructive beliefs from manifesting in this world? Have you ever asked that question? We know, every one of us, deep down, when you go beyond your childish, immature self, that your beliefs alone do not form the consensus subjective reality. No, they don't. Not alone. Not when isolated, at least. So it's important to understand that when you receive advice from people, right, make sure, ask yourself, am I perhaps a little bit too easily impressed? Am I impressed with receiving breadcrumbs? Because I assure you, most people are, especially in this space. You have to be tough, bro. You have to believe, bro. You have to eat well, bro. You have to do this, bro. This year is going to be like this now, bro. And you better believe it. And you better, plan what are you basing your actions on? Someone else's lesser interpretation of your divine journey into this world. Why is that necessary? Why are you afraid to make your own conclusions? Why do you fear to give meaning to the things that are given and granted to you? Why must you follow some populist demagogue, even if they have your best intention at heart, which I highly doubt? Why can't you be the filter? Why can't you serve the filter for the things that you do and you believe? When we read things that read like a guide, how to achieve money, how to achieve success, how to make more money than your peers, how to achieve godlike aura, blah, 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 blah. Your participation implies some sort of deficit. Because I'll tell you a funny thing. Curiosity is a map, right? Whatever you're curious about, probably something you're also lacking. So what are you curious about? Well, you're curious about agency and individual development and spiritual mastery. And I'll tell you right now, there are 1,000 people waiting just outside your door, waiting to sell their own version of it to you. And most of them will regurgitate the same old snake oil tactics, right? Snake oil salesman tactics. And that has to do with just believe, or imagine yourself diving into an ocean of money. Imagine a golden aura surrounding you, and you know what I mean? They send you back into the inwards realms, but they never really tell you at what cost they project this sort of convincing, charismatic energy onto you. Because again, remember, you're easily impressed, right? So even the slightest sign of some sort of intellectual thought in someone arouses some sort of incredible curiosity within you, because it's a rare thing, right? And the person selling you whatever they're selling you, they know that. They know that very well, as I know that. But I've never engaged in that before until now, for the sake of hosting this space and allowing you to decipher the meanings behind the examples I'm going to give. If you want to attain stronger spiritual posture, the very first thing you must do is to raise your expectations and raise your standards. If you continue to be easily impressed, you will never filter out the unnecessary garbage from the necessary garbage, right? What most of us sell is garbage in comparison to whatever gifts you can give yourself through your own discernment. Everything else is garbage. It's sort of like a replica of what a truth should be, or how a truth should sound. Evidence is important, right? There are many people who disagree with me, right? And then there are some people, right, who would sit down across the table with me and have a friendly debate / conversation with me, right? But there are a very small amount of people who would have a public debate conversation with me, right? And then there are even a smaller amount of people who will have an internationally public debate conversation with me. Well, why is that? Why does the environment affect someone's willingness to engage so much? Well, because there's more on the line, and you have 100 million people listening to your every word, right? And if you have some sort of inconsistency or some sort of lie or degeneracy you're pushing, it will be clarified. So it's very easy for people to argue their points into an echo chamber, into some sort of vacuum, is what I'm trying to say. And all of it is designed specifically for someone like yourself or myself or other people who are also easily impressed. Why? Because we are desperate for some sort of meaningful connection with the other, right? That will be used against us to a certain degree. If you wish, right? If you wish to be free of this, a part of growing up, like we said, a part of maturing is becoming less impressed by very small things. How many times on this very social media have you read a post that says, it's all about acceptance, just let go. Just let go. Just let God take it. What does that even mean? Do you think the person saying that even knows what that means? No, they don't. They haven't felt the brunt of it all. They haven't felt the weight of release and acceptance. They just theoretically know about it. It's like gossip, right? Someone heard that someone else, friends, uncles, someone, right, achieved some sort of spiritual release by doing this. So most people are subscribed to ideas. Most people are not leaders. And most people have, who you might even think to have a very strong aura or a very strong pull, don't. It's just that you're easily impressed. Now, when you understand the effects of this, you also understand that most people become populists in this space because their own inner validation is non-existent. They have a deficit of self-sustenance, energetically and spiritually speaking. So what they need is constant external validation. The more views I accrue, the more likes I accrue, the more worship I accrue, somehow I am deemed more important. And then what I can do is I can build on that effect and say that, well, whatever I wrote has such depth to it that you need to scrutinize and meticulously go through each word I said to derive some sort of meaning from there. And they will have an endless supply of young, immature idiots. This is not a dig. I was once young too and impressionable. And non-intellectual, or I should say pseudo-intellectual, and I engaged in demagoguery as much as the other person, right? But at some point, the tragedy is not that you become attracted as a young man or woman to becoming easily impressed by the grifting of others, right? Which they will naturally do because they're in a deficit of validation or self-validation. They are not truly self-sustenant. The tragedy of it all is when you continue being that, when you're unable to advance beyond it. Have you ever followed a person who you thought was very inspirational and motivational when you were 18 or 19 years old, and now you're 24 or 25, and you look back on what they say and there's nothing really that special about it, and you're like, well, why did I even listen to this person in the first place? What was it that connected me to them? Like really, what was it objectively what they said? And you will discover that most of the times it's not really about what they said, but it's about how they said it. It's about they sold you an idea or notion or sentiment that there is some sort of secret they know that you do not understand. That they are somehow more, I don't know, they're they've seen the kitchen, so to speak, of this world, right? Like you're sitting in the restaurant, but they've seen the kitchen and they know what's going on in the kitchen, and they've convinced you. They've convinced you because they have a certain surety in the way they talk. But again, the surety is not their own; it is just something gained by, you know, gained through an external validation. What I'm trying to tell you in this space is that a very important element of spiritual advancement, real spiritual advancement, is becoming rather unmoved by mediocrity and the standard knowledge. And no, this is not a bad thing. It's not a sin, so to speak, to have high standards for yourself and for the world. So this doesn't mean to have incredible expectations that no other person can fulfill, but it means that most of the things that are unworthy and rather untrue and just there for shock value, they will disappear and they will dissipate. Most of the people you follow today after your spiritual advancement, you probably won't follow anymore. Most of the, I don't even know, most of the things you find impressive right now will not seem as impressive to you anymore. And that's a good thing. It means that you've advanced. It means you've gathered some sort of newfound clarity, right? And boldness and bravery to interface with the world on your own terms. This is the only timeless lesson that someone can give you on any level of advancement. So if you were in the first grade, I would tell you the same thing. And if you were in the last grade, I would tell you the same thing. This is the only truth that transcends these levels, so to speak, of intellectual and spiritual advancement. And the only truth, again, I will repeat, is that you are the primary source of discernment. So up your standards. It's fine if you're 18 or 19 years old and you become impressed by any sign of intellectual, I don't know, some sort of complexity in a human being, especially if you are intellectually and spiritually predisposed, right, to understanding a little bit more about the world, seeing beyond its effects, its immediate effects. But if you don't raise that boundary, if you don't demand more, if you don't demand proof, if you don't demand explanation, if you don't demand objective, observable effect, then you will keep being impressed by everything and everyone. And believe me, my friend, you don't want that. It's not about wanting more or some sort of secret existing out there that you have to uncover or recover or discover or pay someone to give you bits and pieces of information. It's about becoming intuitively a self-sustaining filtration system for that which isn't really spiritually valid as a truth and applicable to your everyday living. It's not enough for someone to say, just believe in yourself. Just be yourself. It's not enough. And it shouldn't be enough. And it will never be enough. You think there's weight and depth to that quote that you haven't grasped yet? You will keep thinking that for decades. If that is your peak, if that is the depth that you will engage with this quote or these types of quotes, then that will be your depth. And you will never transcend these depths because you mystify something that doesn't exist beyond it. Do you know what exists beyond it? Authentic experience sharing. Objective proof. This is why it's called gnosis, for example, right? A lot of these spiritualist type of folk love using that term, even though they don't understand what it means. Actual gnosis. It's a sort of knowing. It's a confident knowing of something that you have received irrefutable proof of on a personal level. That is gnosis. It's not some secret manuscript or not some secret document that's hidden away somewhere in a dark, dingy old corner. It's really not. This is why I always say with young people, you're under spiritual awe because your standards are so low that you are shocked by anything. Anything someone sells you with some sort of measure of a half-truth, your face grows whiter. Your eyes, they open up. They're brimming with fiery, sparkling effects. And at some point, that becomes pathetic. That is a child's reaction. And it should become pathetic to you as well. Now, am I calling you pathetic? Absolutely not. But am I calling your behavior pathetic? Definitively. pathetic. If you cannot question the world beyond the surface level quotes, like just believe in yourself, right? Then that is a you issue. So, have you ever met someone with quote unquote godlike aura before? Really ask yourself that question. Have you met anyone with such an aura? Or is it just a construct in your head that such a thing must exist? And you must pretend that it must exist because someone told you that it exists. Now, I would be impressed. You know what I would be impressed with? I would be impressed with a person that doesn't just say, well, how to achieve a godlike aura. I would be further impressed if someone said or asked the question of why to achieve a godlike aura. Because you can't achieve a godlike aura if you don't know why you're achieving it. It's impossible. So most of it is smoke and mirrors. Most people are very terrible liars, not because they intently want to lie to you, but they need to lie to themselves to seek out some sort of validation. And you take them for teachers, as I have in the past. But up to a certain degree, that's all right. But once that threshold is reached of age and experience and maturity and so on and so forth, we roll into patheticism. You want to avoid that. I'm just being real with you. You will never achieve godlike aura if you don't know why you should achieve a godlike aura, or why you need to, or do you even need to? These things are not achieved. Someone will tell you if you go out as a young male and have sexual intercourse with as many women as you can and smoke cigarettes per day and eat this food and eat that food and detox your body and your aura will be golden. What a load of horse poop. So we're saying aura depends on someone's diet. We're saying aura depends on someone's sex life. Are we saying that aura? You need to ask for objectivity and empirical proof here. Well, how are these effects achieved? You say to do this to achieve this result. Well, how is this effect achieved exactly? And they'll tell you some BS because why? Because even they don't understand how these things work. Most people who carry a strong energetic charge, they give themselves too much credit. I've found. They feel like it's not something that they are, but more so something that they're doing that makes them special. And of course, as humans, we love to think that it's our efforts that have granted us our greatest gifts, not our gifts that have granted us our greatest efforts. So if you want to achieve a godlike aura, first understand you must become a person of your own. Stop being so impressed by everything and everyone and all the little things that they offer, the breadcrumbs they give to you. And become less impressed with yourself as well. You are not as impressive as you think. And the moment you stop being impressed with yourself, you will have raised the bar for your spiritual advancement. What is the difference between someone who stops and someone who never stops? The person who never stops is never content. Not with the world, not with the state of other people, not with how they're being treated, not with what other people say or do, or blah, 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 how they lead their lives, but with themselves. It's never enough. So then we can talk about contentedness. Well, what is contentedness? Can you be in a state of contentness while also being in a state of constant renewal and transformation? Again, some people will say, well, that's impossible. That's a paradoxical way of living. And the new you, not the old you that you were before you started listening to this, the new you would say, I can gladly achieve that. It's not beyond me to achieve that. It's no longer a limitation because I've made it not a limitation. I made it not because Uncle Jack told me to do it. Perhaps I can tell you that you can do it, but it's still up to you to do it. The degradation of the human race is due to a lack of education, not due to some sort of spiritual mastery or emotional mastery. Most humans, even most of the people who teach emotional or spiritual mastery, are very far from spiritual and emotional mastery. Just look at how they express themselves. Do they express themselves as someone with emotional stability? No, they don't. Most of their content is impulsive. Most of their content is not charged with fiery passion, but through impulse and projection and desire. But if you just accept these people and never question their origins and the origins of their behaviors and their mannerisms and their expressions and the words and the vocab and the semantics they decide to use or choose to use, to somehow impress you, to question their inspiration, to question their motivation, you're never going to go beyond that very first layer of being impressed and stuck in constant spiritual awe. Now, if I could take a person's brain out and plant a certain type of knowledge into that brain, this would be the primary thing to plant in there. You're content with very little. And it's not a sin to admit that. You must become aware of this limitation if you want to advance. So, back to achieving Godlike aura. When you start listening to yourself, and when you become the primary determining factor of what is valuable and what is not in your life, that's when you will achieve a state of energetic expansion. And remove the word God from your vocabulary. You and I and anyone in this world is very far from having godlike aura. Very far. Especially the ones who claim they do. The most you can achieve is an angelic presence. Right? Where you can be a comfortable space to be around. Right? That you can achieve. It's a beautiful thing. It's a beautiful state of being, state of mind. When you're a person of high consciousness, everything and everyone around you is printed. The very reality around you is printed according to your being, not the things that you believe, not the things that you think, not the things that you feel like need to be true, but as a mirror of that which you are capable of being, that which you are. Reality doesn't surrender to what you think you are or what you believe yourself to be. It surrenders to what you actually are. How huge is that? So we can create all kinds of external distractions and external validating factors of like, I have 150,000 followers. I'm such a smart person. Or you could just be a degenerate. You could just very well be a degenerate who has learned to have degraded morals. and away with words, and you've impressed a room full of 18-year-old idiots. Most popular people are. What's the most popular type of music that impresses? Very simply, the simple mind. Simple minds are impressed by simple pleasures. So it doesn't mean anything. The effect of other people in relation to how your aura is. The effect of how many likes you get or how many reposts you get. What matters is what you know yourself to be. And your aura will reflect that. And the reality around you will also reflect that. You will have a stronger effect. But guess what? Again, meticulousness and detail matter. There are different types of auras. There are different types of people. Humans are energetic conductors. That's an important thing to know. You are different from the other person. Your energy works differently from the other person. And if I tell you a simple thing, well, all you have to do is believe and da-da-da. No. You have to know yourself fundamentally. And you can't gain this knowledge through a formulaic arts. You can't gain this level, this degree of sophisticated detail with numerology or astrology or tarot reading or whatever. It's impossible to gain this degree of self-knowing through some sort of standardized formulaic tool. It's a degenerate understanding of what a human being is. You're not a result of your circumstances. You are what you are creating right now in this very moment. And with a snap of a finger, you're a being that with a snap of a finger, just like that, out of bounds in time, can shift who you are and what you mean to this world just by shifting your perspective of what this world is and who is important to you in this world. Never ever take popularity. Never ever take popularity as verification of someone being truthful or powerful or having some sort of aura or effect. Understand that simple minds require simple pleasures. And sophisticated minds do not become impressed by simple pleasures and simple ideas. That's why there's a few of them. That's why there's so few of them. But it is the things they create, the things that they create that are undeniable, that even the simplest mind submits to. And the primary effect of something or someone who is undeniable, right, is someone who is undeniable in person. Have you ever read someone's book or seen someone's content on the internet and then you meet that person in real life and they have absolutely no, I don't know, like, they have no flair, right? We ever talked to a person on the internet and met them and they have no flair, they have no fire, right? Because they've sold themselves to you as a different thing, but they're completely different in real life. These are most people on your internet. And I still don't know personally how to feel about these things, seeing the growth of regressive thought, seeing the growth of pseudo-intellectual conversation, seeing the growth of this deceptive, grifting, uneducated knowledge, like pseudo-gnosis. Be very careful, my friends, because most humans, most people are very desperate in life, emotionally and spiritually. And sometimes the knowledge, quote unquote, they sell you is not attained through it's not actual gnosis. It's just someone's theory or reinterpretation of someone else's theory that was written a very long time ago, 150, 100 years back or whatever. It's difficult to find a true friend, right? A voice that will be a true friend to you in regards to wanting your best and wishing you your best, because it would be a person who is self-validated. And that's what your goal should be if you're looking for spiritual advancement, is to self-validate your experiences, to not need external validation. Like I said before, I posted a few days back that the signs of a healthy subconscious, the signs of a truly healed and healthy mind, is having no desire whatsoever to be known or popular or famous, because you sustain yourself with your own filtration system. You sustain yourself with your own discernment, with your own understanding of what the world is. You don't need someone else to tell you this and that or explain this and that. You have the most ancient Bible that exists, nature itself, the ultimate symbol, the greatest allegorical teacher to ever exist in this world. All you have to do is see and derive knowledge from it. I hope one day to become useless to you. You understand? Only within the frame and bounds of a good friend do I wish to exist in the minds and hearts of other people. I have no desire to be impressive. And I have no desire to be impressed. Once you learn the significance of that, it's very difficult to not be upgraded from that knowing. Where you do not attach meaning to results. Now, if we talk about the greatest musicians, we are most likely not talking about the most popular of musicians. Now, I'm not saying a great musician cannot be popular. And most people who are confused in life and don't have self-discernment and don't use their own filtration system to derive the value of something or the meaning of something, they try to reverse engineer it. How many friends like this do you have? They'll look at something, and if it's popular, they'll say it's great. But if it's not popular, they'll say there's something probably wrong with it. And they should probably not like it, even if they do. So this is a very low IQ thing, so to speak. People love saying it that way, love putting it that way. It's a low IQ thing to see some sort of direct correlation with someone's words being popular and the true spiritual value of those words. It's for people who have no discernment. That's why fashion and trends and fads and all the rest of that garbage exists. And that has its place, of course. But at some point it becomes pathetic to the seeker, to the spiritual seeker. And you must learn to go beyond it. You must learn to cross that river when you get to it. Because you'll just be, taking in the view and walking along the shoreline if you don't. And then it's fine to walk along the shoreline for a time, right? For a time. But life won't allow you to get stale. You understand? You must up your expectations. You must raise your standards. For yourself primarily, but for others as well. And the things that they give you. Your time and attention and focus, even Instagram likes are precious, yet you give them away too freely when you're too easily impressed. So when you settle, I'm going to tell you a very important thing now. Even if you ignore all of the rest of this space, at least take this one thing. What you accept is what you default to. Like really, really take this in. What you accept is what you default to. If I'm looking to listen to good music, and I look up the internet and there's 1,000 billion artists on, what's that called, Spotify or something, right? And I look for a song that's kind of okay. You know, most of it I don't like, but I look at a song, it's kind of okay. Yeah, this could work. And when I accept that for myself, I'm inviting that level, that quality into my life. And you might think this is an over-dramatization, but now zoom out a little bit, look at your own life, and see how many things like that you have accepted. This relationship is kinda okay, I guess it'll do. So you're stuck in mediocrity. Because you have trauma, childhood trauma, you have insecurities, complex systems. You must ask for more. There is nothing wrong with seeking out the best for you, taking time to do so. Are you truly happy with the music you listen to or the TV shows you watch, or have you just settled with something that's mediocre? Are you happy with your friendships, or have you settled with something that's just all right? Are you happy with the people you decide and choose to learn from and have them as your teachers, or are you just settling with something that was just there? It's not that you sought it out. It was just like the first thing that was there. Probably it was the first thing that was the most popular. A true sign of growth is to outgrow. Not saying it in a stupid sense, again, like some pseudo-spiritual people would love to say, that, to release the things that don't serve you or what kind of stupid thing is that? What kind of silly thing to say is that, right? As if everything on the planet is there just to serve you. And that should be your primary metric as to and how do these things serve you? They either validate your insecurities or feed your ego in toxic ways. That's what most people feel like, well, that's what I should have in my life because it serves me. It makes me feel better. It doesn't matter how you feel. It's not about how you feel, firstly. It's about how you make others feel. That's the real mirror. So study that, observe that. How do I make others feel? How do others feel in my presence? So having a quote-unquote godlike aura is not about how you feel inside or what you eat or how many times you work out per day or how many days you go without masturbating. The effects of your aura are on display constantly every single day on the faces of people you meet, talk to, and interact with. If you want a real objective metric, that's the real objective metric. Most people can't even look other people in the eyes. They're afraid of something. They don't even know what they're afraid of. They fear something. They fear the openness, the vulnerability, the feeling and the idea of being exposed to the divinity of someone else. They hang their head and their eyes in shame. Fun is an aura. Importance is an aura. Attracting a crowd is an aura. What aura is being the primary determining factor in how reality itself unfolds on a quantum level within the space of your energetic charge. That's aura. When the real aura walks into the room, it's not about how many people look. Maybe no one looks. It's not about how many people feel a certain way. It's not about how many people are impressed. But it's about whose higher understanding of the situation unfolding right now in this moment is played out. That's what aura is. It is your ability to imprint and impress your energetic imprint onto the material world and to allow it to unfold according to your standards and your expectation. I will not accept being lied to. It's not because I'm a magical wizard that people can't lie to me, because it's that they inherently understand through my being that I will not accept being lied to. So they're less likely to lie. I will not accept to have a fight on the street with a drunk. And if they really feel that, if they see that in my being, they know we won't have a conflict. But the things you accept are the things you will get. So if you want to have a godlike aura, ask yourself that simple question. What do I accept on a daily basis? What is the threshold of the thresholds of my expectation? A very cool experience I can share with you is that I remember once, and this is childhood wisdom that becomes lost over time. I remember once I was in a terrible state when I was younger as a child, 8, 9 years old. Something horrible was happening in my life, private life, or whatever you want to call it. And I shared it with another child, this moment, right? It was an extended amount of time. And I told them, well, in my own childish mind, in my own incompetence, so to speak, I was planning for the future, right? Well, what are we going to do if this and that and this, and how should one behave, and da 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 da. And you know what they told me? It's going to be fine anyway. Like they said, like you know that things are going to work out, like, and everything will be back to normal. Like you just know it, and I just know it. 7-year-old kid. And in their voice was a very clear, defined understanding that I will not accept a traumatic, chaotic outcome. So I will not even consider that as a possibility. I will not even feed it the emotions of fear and panic or whatever. I will not even accept that as a possibility. Accept not as in I reject objectively what's going on. But no, I will set a clear expectation, a clear standard for what I will accept from this life. And until those requirements are met, I will not settle, meaning that I will not emotionally engage with the situation. The moment you settle, the moment you interact, the moment you contend with the mirror is going to default to that level or that layer of depth. It won't take you any further. So be really careful with what your standards are. If you want a godlike aura, then you have to have godlike expectations. Firstly of yourself, and then from others. Don't settle with basic stuff. We're not 18 anymore. A large proponent of spiritual advancement is understanding this. Don't settle for simple quotes or some sort of convoluted, ambiguous wisdoms. Go for the jugular. Go for the details. Ask, why do you think that this way? Why does this mean that? Discern the logic. And stop being so impressed by everything and everyone. The moment you stop having spiritual awe and stop being impressed by anything and everyone, you will finally be able to determine what is true and what is not, what is false, what is demagoguery, what is bullshit, if we can say it that way. What is projection, what is not. Whatever you accept will remain in your world. Do you accept not knowing your origins? It will remain in your world. Do you accept not having proof of God? It will remain in your world. Do you accept not knowing the meaning of life? It will remain in your world. Do you accept being impressed by anyone and everyone? It will remain in your world. Do you accept not seeing beauty and seeing destruction and war and violence everywhere? It will remain in your world. Look at our world. Most humans accept all of those things. They accept the deception, the hate, the defiance, the degradation, the humiliation, the embarrassment, the war making, the dark covens working in the shadows, the dark happenings across the world. They all accept that. They all accept this world because they identify with this world. They self-identify with this world. Whatever you accept in the external, you accept also in the internal. Whatever you accept outside, you would also accept within yourself. So reality is a mirror to that degree. You really need to think about it. You really, really need to think about it. I tricked you today. I didn't give you a cheat code, but I gave you something better than a cheat code. I'm here to tell you that you are the cheat code. One last thing. And then we'll call it a day. How does this look like in practical everyday living? Right? How does it look like? It looks like fearlessness. It feels and smells like fearlessness. It's a little bit eccentric behavior. It's like not even being of this world. It's not rejecting this world. It's accepting this world for what it is, like we said, with all its insanities and degeneracies and confusions and chaos, whatever other people believe and accept. But that doesn't mean you invite these things into your reality. When someone tells you something is plain, which is plain objectively, right? As well, just believe in yourself. Oh, this is a 7-year. You have to go and do this on a 7-year. Or this is a 8-day and do this. Oh, you're a Cancer. You must be this and that way in life. Oh, your tarot read this. All of these are projections. They're impressions. They're limiting you through some sort of worldly design that we're somehow forced to be a part of. I am a limitless, infinite being. You cannot cage me in numbers and percentages. You cannot cage me in some sort of formulaic design. I am an infinite being. You understand? You cannot cage me in some expectation of what I'm supposed to be. It is a map of who I was when I came in here. But who I am now, I create. I speak and I create. That is who and what I am now, and you as well.